Hey y'all, IrixGuy here, and within this video I'm going to explain why home Wi-Fi is slow and how to fix slow home Wi-Fi. Now this video is for everyone, so if you're non-technical, this will be for you. Likewise, if you're technical, this will be for you also. And if you have any questions after watching this video, please comment down below and I'll try to answer those questions within upcoming videos. So what we're going to do within this video, and by the way, if you don't have time, you may just want to save a bookmark to this video and come back when you do have time, because this is going to be a very in-depth video, and we're going to go through identifying why home Wi-Fi is slow in a phased approach, and then we're going to talk about the fix also in a phased approach. So let's go ahead and get started. Relax, calm down. You're probably upset because your home Wi-Fi is slow, your home internet is slow, but we're going to step through it and hopefully this resolves your issue. And by the way, if it does, not required, but feel free to send me a super thanks after you watch this video. You can find that thanks button down below this video. Not required, but great way to support videos like this one. So the first thing you want to do is ask yourself, okay, do I have broadband internet? Well, what is broadband internet? At the time of filming this, it could be cable modem internet, it could be fiber internet, it could be DSL internet. It may come from a provider like Xfinity, Comcast, Spectrum, AT&T, Google, etc. So the first thing to do is make sure that you've got the high-speed internet, often referred to as broadband internet. Because if you don't have high-speed internet, it doesn't matter how well configured your home Wi-Fi network is, it's not going to be fast because the internet's not fast. With that being said, the first thing we want to do to troubleshoot slow home Wi-Fi is go to your, now preferably you may have a laptop or a desktop computer, and preferably what you could do, if that computer has a network jack, you know, and you've got a network cable, you could physically plug your laptop into the broadband provider's provided what they call gateway or modem, because if you look at the back of it, it's probably got a series of network ports. So if you can do that, that is a great first troubleshooting step. And once you've hardwired your computer to the broadband provider's gateway, then you can go to google.com and you can search for bandwidth speed test. And there's going to be a lot of hits, but the one I would recommend would be the one that says fiber.google.com internet speed test. Click that. Once you're on that page, there's a go button. You can push the go button, and what this is going to do is perform a speed test. Now keep in mind, if you had a laptop, which hopefully you did, that hopefully had a physical network port, by having that laptop plugged directly into the gateway, the modem, whatever you want to refer to it as, that's taking the Wi-Fi network temporarily out of the picture. So while you're connected directly to the broadband provider's gateway, if you're still getting slow speed, well, the bottleneck, there's definitely a bottleneck at the broadband connections point. So that, you know, if there's a bottleneck there, there's going to be slowness regardless. So that would be the first thing you would want to address is, you know, if it's slow, well, is the broadband plan that you're paying for, does the speed test meet or exceed the stated speed? If not, first thing I would do is contact the broadband internet provider and let them know, hey man, my broadband internet's not nearly as fast as it should be. Now just because that may be part of the problem doesn't mean it's the only problem. So once you get that addressed, assuming that it's slow, and it may be fast, and if it is fast, that's great, because then you can hop to the next steps that I'm going to explain step by step within this video. But if it's slow, contact the broadband provider first. Make sure that from the broadband gateway, cable modem, DSL modem, fiber modem, whatever type service you're on for broadband, that the broadband providers address that, because if they haven't, the rest of this video is wasted time. But assuming that produced a fast connection, and you're getting fast connection directly from the broadband gateway, the next step will be to using one of your wireless devices. So you could use an iPhone, you could use an iPad, a laptop that's connected to your home's Wi-Fi. It doesn't matter, and do the same thing. Go to Google, search for bandwidth speed test, and run that same test. But this time, you're running the test while connected to your home Wi-Fi. Now look at the speed that same test reveals while you're connected to your home Wi-Fi versus while you were physically tethered to your broadband provider gateway. Is there a huge discrepancy? And if so, well, then that tells us what we needed to know, and that is your home Wi-Fi is not optimally configured, or your home Wi-Fi equipment is not up to snuff. So there's a few things we're going to do next. So wherever, and you may only have one Wi-Fi access point, you may have multiple Wi-Fi access points in your home. So what I would do next is I would stand by, maybe you've only got one, go stand right next to it with your same computer or same tablet or same phone and run the test again. Go to Google, search for bandwidth speed test, run the same test. Is it faster if you're right beside the wireless access point? And if so, is it fast enough? Is it close to the speed that you're seeing when you perform the test while directly hardwired to the broadband provider's gateway? If so, well, then that says, okay, you probably are trying to use Wi-Fi in a different part of the residence that's so far away from the wireless access point that it's not getting a strong signal. So that, in that case, what you would probably want to consider doing is adding additional access points. And I've linked, by the way, expand this video's description and click the link there, and you'll find all of the equipment like I use for my home Wi-Fi. And my home Wi-Fi is rock solid, and we're going to dive into that here in a minute. But let's say that while you were standing directly beside one of your wireless access points that it was not fast. Well, that tells us that the wireless access point maybe it's not current enough of an access point. In that case, what I would do, and like I said, I linked it within this video's description, I would consider switching to the wireless solution like I use. It works great. It's rock solid. Also, assuming that your current wireless access point is supposedly fast enough, you may have a poor communication between it and the gateway that was provided by the broadband provider. Optimally, what you would do, like I do, and like I've linked within this video's description, you would have all of your wireless access points hardwired back to a switch, which then connects to the gateway. So regardless of where somebody is within their residence, see, these wireless access points are intelligent, so they'll know which one you're closest to, and it'll force the device, whether it's iPhone, iPad, laptop, whatever, to connect to the closest access point. Does it intelligently. But if you've got all those access points physically wired to the switch, which is then physically wired to the broadband provider's gateway, regardless of which wireless access point you're connecting to, the connectivity between it and your broadband internet provider is going to all be wired. Obviously, the connection between your device and your hand is wireless to the wireless access point that it's in close proximity of. But that's going to ensure optimal performance. And like I said, depending upon, this is across the board. Everybody's got different, most everybody's got different wireless hardware. So, your wireless hardware, even if you recently purchased it, that doesn't mean it's fast. I mean, even if you recently purchased it, it could have been obsolete at the time of purchase and you didn't realize it. And that doesn't matter. I mean, like I said, this video is for everybody, whether you're technical or non-technical. That's not an insult. That's just stating the fact. So, you know, if your broadband internet is fast when you're hardwired into it, but when you're connecting to your access point or your access points and it's slow and you don't have any cabling issues, that's another thing you should check. If you have your if your existing Wi-Fi access points are hardwired to your broadband provider's gateway, the cable, the patch cable, the network cable that you used may have been a slower cable. For example, if you're using what's called gigabit, 1,000 megabytes per second internet, but you're using old patch cable that can only do 100, it can't do 1,000, you're not going to get that speed, and the limitation is the cable. So assuming that your Wi-Fi access point is current and capable of meeting or exceeding the speed of your broadband internet provider speed, in that scenario, what you would want to do is swap your patch cable out with a patch cable that can handle faster data transmission. And you can expand this video's description and click the link there to find the cable like I would recommend. So like I said, I've linked everything within this video's description. But that could be the culprit. Also, even if your patch cable is fast enough, if it's going through a wall, if it's going, it's attached to the ceiling in a basement, wherever it may be, if there was a rodent, a rat, could have chewed through that network cable and degraded the performance of it. And that's something people don't think about. I mean, these rats, they are vicious and they will chew through almost anything. So that sounds crazy, but also if you ran that patch cable through the wall, assuming it was fast enough patch cable, there could have been something in the wall, maybe a nail or something in there that was sharp, and it damaged the cable while you were pulling it through the wall. There's so many things that could happen. So that's a consideration there. Now, something else that can make your internet slow. Well, do you have a lot of other people in the house? Are those people are they watching shows on their iPad, maybe on an Apple TV or a Fire TV? Are they playing video games? Are they downloading large files for work? How many people are at the residence at the time of slowness? And if there's multiple people, what I would do, I would perform the test when only you are there. And then that way there's only your device. Make sure all the devices are turned off and test the speed. If the speed is fast when it's only you, it's probably a situation where multiple people using the Wi-Fi internet at the same time is degrading the performance. So that's something to be aware of. And especially if your existing Wi-Fi access point hardware is capable, it may not be as capable as a Wi-Fi solution like I mentioned and I've linked below. So I mean, and regardless of how inexpensive or how expensive the Wi-Fi hardware is, there's always going to be a point at which it can handle that much concurrent activity without noticeable speed degradation. So that's something to be aware of. But there's so many avenues that one can pursue while trying to identify why their internet at home is slow, why their home Wi-Fi is slow. And you just got to take it in a phased approach. And like I said, I mean, if the broadband gateway in one's residence, if it's slow there, doesn't matter what kind of Wi-Fi network one has, because it's a moot point. I mean, if the internet's slow at the gateway, doesn't matter if the Wi-Fi network is super fast or super slow, because it's the gateway, the broadband provider's gateway is the bottleneck. But my recommendation would be, if you're experiencing slow Wi-Fi, and potentially maybe you just recently installed whatever solution you've got and you're not happy with it. I would try to return it if you got it. I mean, if you recently purchased it. If it's something you've had for a few years, again, just because you've had it for a few years when you bought it, that doesn't mean it was current technology. It could have been obsolete at the time of purchase. I would really question what you have, and I would consider just going ahead and overhauling the network, and using, considering, like I said, I've linked it all within this video's description, that equipment, because I'm not saying I'm the most technical person in the world, but I have been involved with technology for well over 40 years, so I've got a little bit of technology experience, over 40 years of technology experience. But see, with mine, and this is something else that you haven't considered, when you set it up, if you set it up like I do, depending upon the size of your residence and where you want to have Wi-Fi coverage, that'll dictate how many wireless, and I'm saying routers instead of wireless access. Actually, they're wireless routers, because here's another point of failure, and not to get too technical, but there's a lot of products that'll have wireless range extenders or wireless access points that don't have physical network ports on the back. And those are a problem, because although they may expand the Wi-Fi coverage area, they're communicating wirelessly with the other wireless access points, so that's not optimal. What you want is what I've linked within this video's description. So every access point is physically wired to the switch, which I've also linked within this video's description, which is physically wired to the broadband provider's gateway. So everything is hardwired except for the communications between the iPhone, the iPad, the laptops that are using Wi-Fi. But once they hit that access point, regardless of which access point they have, you may have one, you may have multiple, but the communications from that access point out to the internet is all wired, physical wire. That's what you want. And that's a point of failure that a lot of people have encountered, because they've got degraded Wi-Fi performance, even though they've got an extended coverage area, because potentially they use these Wi-Fi extenders. What they didn't realize is that even though it's extended signal, it's degraded signal, because it's not physically wired from that extender to the internet. It's wireless to other wireless access points, and it's just you may get signal, but it's not going to be fast. So that's another reason why home Wi-Fi is often slow. And believe me, you go into most any big box retailer, they're going to try to sell you every gadget known to man, and you don't need it. All you need is something simple, easy to administer, reliable, and that's what I've linked within this video's description. And the other value add of this, you're like, man, I don't know, I'd have to run wires through the walls, maybe through the basement. If you got a basement, it makes it a little bit easier. And you get, you get on this worry train, and it's like, man, I don't want to do that. It's too much trouble. Well, here's a way to look at it. You want fast and reliable internet, okay? Future-proof the cable. Get the faster network cable so that it's somewhat future-proofed. In a few years, when Wi-Fi becomes even faster, when broadband internet becomes even faster, well, you've already got the physical network cables running throughout the house. Unless network cables have radically changed within a few years, which they typically don't, it would be easy to swap out the wired Wi-Fi access points with whatever the current technology is. You keep the same wires, same network cables in the walls or on the ceiling or however you've got it run, and you would just replace the the wired Wi-Fi access point. So it's easy once you've gotten the initial infrastructure, the initial wiring in place. And if you're not confident with performing wiring jobs, just get in your look in your I shouldn't say look in your phone book, that's old school. Get on Google and look for people in your area, people that like a handyman or odd jobs, construction services or something, something that, somebody that probably doesn't charge too much that could come out, does this type of work all the time, and could probably run those network cables through your walls or on your ceiling or wherever potentially within a matter of hours. And then once you've done it, like I said, going forward, unless network cables change radically, those probably aren't going to have to be replaced. But keep in mind, if they do change, and assuming the cables are around the same form factor, in the far future, if you ever need to change the cables, probably what you could do is tether whatever the newer cable is to the existing cable and pull it through. So you might even, at that point, if you weren't confident enough to perform your own cabling initially, you would be confident enough to try to fish that newer cable through the wall in the far future, and not have to deal with engaging a third party to perform that service. So I'm not trying to make this sound difficult, but I am acknowledging that cables, it's probably going to be many years, assuming that you install the current category network cable like I've linked below, probably going to be many years before that cable becomes obsolete. But everything changes. Technology is constantly evolving, but it is realistic to assume that Wi-Fi, and keep in mind, just because Wi-Fi there may be faster Wi-Fi equipment available in the future, if your broadband internet's still the same speed, if you're using Wi-Fi solely for internet, if your internet says 1,000 and your home Wi-Fi is 1,000, just because home Wi-Fi, they may release, let's say, 10,000 in a few years from now or whatever. If your internet's still 1,000 and your home Wi-Fi is 10,000, it's probably not worth upgrading until the broadband internet becomes faster. Unless you do a lot of internal file transfers among computers and tablets and phones, maybe you do, but this is a somewhat, technology constantly evolves, but it's a solution that can be implemented and provide quality of life. Because if you're like many people, you've got TVs that are using streaming, you've got video game consoles that are using streaming, you've got iPhones, iPads, laptops, maybe computers for business, and all of that's probably Wi-Fi connected. And having all of that in your residence, having a solid, fast, and reliable Wi-Fi solution that, regardless of where one is within that residence, that they've got strong, and not just strong Wi-Fi signal, because that can be faked, as I mentioned earlier, by the Wi-Fi range extenders, but strong Wi-Fi signal that all of those signals, regardless of which Wi-Fi access point is being hit, they're all hardwired to the internet. Wi-Fi access point, hardwire from there, the network cable that goes into the switch goes into the broadband gateway, and then the broadband gateway goes out to the internet. So everything from the wireless access point out the internet, it's all hardwired. So this doesn't have to be difficult. And I know a lot of people try to make it sound difficult because they want to sell you something, and they want to try to high note themselves. But man, I'm smarter at information technology than you are. There's people like that. I personally don't care. I've got a lot of things that I've done within the technology realm that I can't talk about. But I feel like I can provide solid recommendations for diagnosing why your home Wi-Fi is slow, and solid recommendations for how to fix your slow home Wi-Fi. So I hope this video helped. And again, if you've got questions, please comment below, because I'm here to try to respond within upcoming videos. And like I said, expand this video's description and click the links there to find all of the equipment like I referenced. That's what I'm using at the time of filming this video. Like I said, technology evolves. When I feel that the business need arises to upgrade my wireless access points, I'll make that decision. But right now, I mean, confidently, I feel reasonably confident that my existing wired wireless access points will probably be good for a few more years for my use case. Now keep in mind, I'm a highly technical user, so I mean I will probably upgrade a lot more frequently than many people may, but when that time comes, I've already got the somewhat future-proofed network cable run, so it's just a matter of placing those newer wired wireless access points in the same spots, using the same power outlets that I use for my existing wired wireless access points, and boom, then I've got whatever the current technology is for home Wi-Fi. So it's not a big deal, you know. I hope this video just calmed you down, because I know you started searching for videos because you were probably mad and your Wi-Fi was slow and you were just in a bitter mood, and that's why I'm here. I'm here to make you relax, and I'm here to hopefully solve your issue. So if this video helped, again, not required, but deeply appreciated. If you choose to send me a super thanks, you can choose to do so, not required, but you can look down below and there's that thanks button, and you can choose to click that thanks button, and you can choose to send me a super thanks. But if you're purchasing new Wi-Fi, home Wi-Fi equipment, please consider shopping the links within this video's description, because that helps to support my channel and videos like this one. And you know, be sure to subscribe and ring that bell also, and that'll notify you whenever I post another video. And again, ask your questions, post your comments, and I'll try to respond within upcoming videos. And also, I do provide consulting services, so if you have any custom Wi-Fi network needs, comment down below. And actually, the best way to get me would be to send me a direct message on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/IrixGuy, and we can schedule a time for a you know, for a consultation by way of video. You know, I'm not going to come out to your business or your residence, but you know, regardless of where you may be geographically located, I would be happy to set up a free consultation, and you know, and then quote you for what I feel would be reasonable to move forward with assisting you with configuring your optimal, fast, and reliable home Wi-Fi solution. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, IrixGuy here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please be sure to subscribe to my channel, and when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.